Welcome back, fan stands, to the Week 15 finals between Golgari Ramp and Jeskai Control. We have Golgari Ramp played by Matt today. You just look to accelerate your mana and then eventually end the game with a Nissa who shakes the world. Meanwhile, from Jeskai Control, we delay the game, eventually getting a Sarkhan out with a bunch of Planeswalkers, and then change everything to dragons and swing for lethal. This is Game 1. Alright, here in Game 1, we have Matt on the left playing the Golgari Ramp deck, and on the right we have Jonah playing the Jeskai Control. Looks like both players are looking at 7s, and Matt will start us off with a Bayou into a Mana Vault. Already ramping out ahead of schedule, and we're going to have a peek at what Matt's playing with. 2 Liliana Dreadhorde Generals, another land, Regrowth, and Dark Ritual. So we're going to have access to a lot of mana next turn. Tapping that Mana Vault, we'll be able to cast Liliana. We've got a Mox Sapphire Plateau from Jonah. And not too much to do on this turn. Looking at a land, Fact or Fiction, Bolt, and a Supreme Will in hand. Maybe even a Tragic Lesson. But Matt will go for Dark Ritual. Jonah opting in response, maybe looking to hit a Mental Misstep and really slow down Matt's forward progression here. Knowing that the coast is clear, Matt's going to tap for the Mana Vault and cast Liliana Dreadhorde General. Now Liliana has an uptick to make a 2/2 zombie, a downtick to have each player sacrifice 2 creatures, and then a big old ultimate to end the game. But we just start with an uptick. Got a stacked ability that lets you draw a card every time a creature you control dies. Jonah plays a land and passes the turn. Matt gets in for 2 damage and makes another zombie. Jonah here holding up both counter magic and card selection. So we'll tap Thief for Tragic Lesson, look at 2 of the cards, and then you either discard a card or bounce a land to your hand. In the early turns, bouncing a land is not what you're looking to do. It looks like Jonah values more of the short term than the long term right now. Is going to say no to the Fact or Fiction. Needs to be able to deal with this Liliana before she ultimates. We'll start things off with a Narset. Gain a life because of the Interplanar Nexus. And go digging. We see a Sarkhan go to hand. And we'll Time Walk here. Gonna make sure that we get more out of the Narset rather than just going for an instant bolt onto Lily. Starting with the Narset activation to get as much information as possible. Got our selection of the Veto, a Kasmina, and Teferi. Now right now, the Veto isn't doing much on the board, and Matt's a little far away from casting the other Liliana in hand, so looks like we just took a Teferi this time. That'll be able to have us get rid of a zombie in the way. But instead we'll go for Sarkhan. Sarkhan will downtick for 3 and make a 4/4 flying dragon. And Matt will, in response, kill the Sarkhan in combat. Matt getting really close to being able to ultimate Liliana. Just the -9. Each opponent chooses a permanent control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. So just looking to completely annihilate Jonah's board. But Matt sees that Lily's not going to be around for too much longer and decides to regrowth the Dark Ritual so that they can cast the other Lily in hand eventually. But that doesn't mean that Matt's not going to threaten and enforce the issue that Jonah has to deal with this Planeswalker. Untap draw for Jonah. We've got Sarkhan out yet again. That Nexus gaining us some more life. We're making more dragons. Stopping the Lily ult. And now we're kind of in the same place that we were last time, where Matt can get rid of the Sarkhan. But Jonah's bolt could protect them. Narset not doing too much against Matt. This Golgari ramp doesn't draw too many extra cards. Though with the Liliana out on the battlefield, actually is preventing the drawing of cards. Yeah, in fact, Matt will have each player sacrifice 2 creatures, but doesn't get the 2 cards because of Narset out on the battlefield. Even in some niche scenarios, these statics are very powerful. Jonah upticking on Sarkhan, having each Planeswalker they control become a 4/4 dragon, gonna attack down the Lily, finally get that off the board, and start chipping away at Matt's life total. Jonah going for Teferi, and with the counter magic in hand, they're starting to look very situated for this longer game. But Teferi will bounce their own Mox, get to draw a card, replay it, kind of make that Teferi only 2 mana rather than the full 3. Let's hold up a Foff or something of the sorts. When the Paradise Druid goes to attack, gonna bolt that. Just making it really hard for Matt to get anywhere. And here we have the Dark Ritual to power out a Casualties of War. We're gonna target some things, but Supreme Will counter that spell, and Matt packs it up. Jonah taking game 1. Here in game 2, we're going to have Matt on the play yet again. Jonah getting the first game, putting them ahead, but we're now at sideboards. We'll see how much better each deck gets. I know that Matt has access to some Teferis in the board, going to be able to stop the counter magic that Jonah has available to them. Also going to delay options of removal. But Jonah's not looking for much delay, is going to deploy out Mox Ruby, Mox Pearl, and a Volcanic Island. And continue developing. Tragic Lesson, drawing 2. We're going to discard another Tragic Lesson. Valuing getting this Kasmina out over the extra card. But we get to have some more selection. Kasmina makes it so that creatures and planeswalkers that are targeted by opponent's spells cost 2 more to cast. And this wizard is a 2/2 that when it enters, you loot a card. And Jonah essentially getting a free, using the free selection with the opt. We've got 2 mana. Matt casting Time Walk. And not much for Jonah to do in response. Completely tapped out. Matt given a better read on Kasmina. 5 mana for Matt's side is Nissa Who Shakes the World. Now, with 3 forests out, Matt's gonna really be ahead on mana here. Trying to attack down that Kasmina. Jonah goes for a block. Means that Jonah won't be able to attack back, but with that 3/3 Bayou in the way, wasn't going to do too much attacking anyway. This also lets it so that Kasmina can keep her static ability, and so that Jonah can get more card selection. We've got an extra dragon down on the battlefield. Jonah all tapped out, just surveying the scene. And passed back to Matt. Scrubland being the draw. We're going to tap 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. And it looks like this is a Casualties of War. Tapping 8 mana because Kasmina makes things cost 2 more. Getting rid of the white sources from Jonah, being Mox Pearl and Tundra, and also it looked like Sarkhan and the dragon that they came with. Yep, we finalized our selection there. Play a land for turn. Or sorry, animate our land. Untapping it so that we can... And then we get to cast this Mind Twist and remove the final card from Jonah's hand. Matt firmly in the driver's seat now. Board advantage, card advantage, mana advantage, and Jonah realizes it and concedes. We're going to a game 3 in the finals of week 15. All right, welcome to the final game of the final match for week 15. Both players here. And we've got, looks like a mulligan from Matt down to 6 cards. And same for Jonah, who will start us off, starting with a Gemstone Mine. And looks like we have a Mox, and we'll pass the turn. Mox Emerald. Matt on the other side, going to opt from Jonah. Matt expecting a mental misstep. Jonah casting Teferi, gonna bounce that birds. Just slowing down the options available while Jonah keeps themselves ahead. And Matt replaying or playing Paradise Druid, really threatening the Teferi on the other side of the battlefield. No Swords to Plowshares or Bolt gonna work for Jonah. Gonna have to put something in the way. Because we do see that swords in hand, but can't maintain the mana efficiency. We have the option to play Narset, but decide to bluff a counterspell or something instead. Matt tapping the Paradise Druid for birds. Clearly finding the mana to be more important. Developing that, especially with the Gemstone Mine getting out of the way, rather than trying to get rid of this Teferi. I mean, the static ability on Teferi doesn't do too much against the Golgari ramp deck because they don't play many instants or flash spells. So just realizing that Teferi isn't what the ramp deck's worried about, just going to rather develop the mana, being the namesake. But meanwhile, Jonah casts Sarkhan and makes Dragon. Teferi will go up. Ooh, the Elder Spell going to hit both of these powerful planeswalkers. Yes, there's a dragon left behind for Jonah, but the card advantage is starting to go in Matt's favor. Jonah seeing if they can do something about that, though. Going to play down Narset now that there's no threat from the Paradise Druid or anything else going on that side of the battlefield. Get to look at 4 cards. Looks like one of them is a Moxen. Can't quite make out the other cards in hand. But that Tundra's not doing much. And yeah, it looks like we took a Mox Pearl. And we'll play it right away. Jonah looking at a Kasmina and Sarkhan in hand, able to deploy more threats to the battlefield and eventually overrun. Looks like Matt's holding Casualties of War in hand, really just ready to get Jonah. But no extra mana source, just instead gonna opt to get rid of those powerful cards from Jonah. And right now, Jonah's got mana, but no real gas. But there we go. Narset finds another Sarkhanvil. And we'll keep the beats up. Jonah down takes, makes a dragon, and swings in with the other one. Matt down to 14. And happy with this top deck, Matt's going to immediately fire off. And again, rips Jonah of their white mana, hitting the Mox Pearl and Tundra. But we've still got a clock going. This dragon's swinging in for 4. We've got a Tragic Lesson in hand, as well as Time Walk. And it looks like Jonah wants to get this game done as soon as possible. Attacking in. Paradise Druid being the draw for Matt. Not going to do too much in this situation. And so instead we are going to play a Tamiyo, it looks like. Not really anything to grab at the moment in hand. Elder Spell isn't going to remove any threats. Mind Twist isn't going to stop the dragon from hand. Casualties of War you could grab, but so we've got an Elder Spell, 2 Dark Rituals, and a Mox. None of those what Matt was looking for. Yeah, there you could take the Casualties of War and set it up so that you kill the dragon while you're at 2 life. It looks like Matt has different plans. Matt can always do that next turn, and even though this Tamio could still die to the dragon plus bolt, their face would die to that as well. Interplanar Nexus to Fairy. Gain a life. Bouncing a mana dork and drawing a card. Matt potentially looking to have chumped on that turn. Didn't get the option. So now it's do or die. Nothing in hand to save Matt. Doesn't have the mana, I think, to downtick and cast this Casualties of War now that the Birds of Paradise is gone. We've got land, Time Walk. And it looks like Time Walk is what Matt indeed named, being the last card that could have gone for. And yeah, here's a Time Walk. And able to cast Teferi to remove the threat. Draw a card off of Teferi. And with Tamio at 7 counters and Jonah essentially tapped out, Matt is representing 2 extra turns beyond this extra turn that they're getting. Now Matt's got a lot of card draw and a lot of ramp in the deck, but not too many ways to win the game. We go on to our next turn. Essentially, Matt at this point is just looking for Nissa. And yeah, with card draw available to Matt, they want to get rid of the Narset. Not focused on killing Jonah until they have the actual way to win. We've got an uptick. Looks like we named Regrowth. Going to be able to grab another Time Walk from our graveyard and cast it. This isn't deterministic. Matt still really has to be careful of every choice that they make to secure the W. We've got Regrowth into Time Walk. Next turn we've got an uptick activation for Tamio. Matt's going to sacrifice their Teferi to draw an extra card, because at this point they really just need to get more going on. We've got a replacement Teferi. Upticking. Next turn, have we found a way to win yet? Matt gonna keep digging with Tamio. Now, do we go for more regrowths to get a Time Walk, or do we go for Nissa so that we can start closing the game out? Whatever was named, it was not in those 4 cards. That special guest Paradise Druid, really cool. It looks like we have a Demonic Tutor, so we will be able to find whatever we are looking for. Looks like we grabbed Blue Elemental Blast here. Matt realizes that one of the only ways that he can lose this game is getting bolted. because even if they chain together more extra turns, that bolt over the top could just end things. Matt realizes that the coast is clear. With this Teferi on the battlefield, that mental misstep isn't doing anything. If you did have access to the misstep there, I think playing it would be great because there's not many great one-drops you want to counter from Matt's side of the field. And any random card is probably better than a one-drop. But this ain't no random card. We've got Nissa, who shakes the world. And we're going to attack Jonah for 3 with the land and use the Paradise Druid to remove Teferi. Getting rid of Teferi there is very key because it prevents Matt from getting... It lets Matt unlock the Blue Elemental Blast. And Matt here is explaining that Tamiyo can grab Time Walk from the graveyard and that Nissa will kill in 2 turns. And there we have it. Matt 3-0. Undefeated. GG's.